Yay, hello. Yay, welcome to District 3, Bernalillo County. Welcome to our beautiful African American pavilion at the New Mexico State Fairgrounds. Yes. I did expect a big turnout, but not standing room only. So thank you all for, this is how important it is, and that is very clear. I'm Adrienne Barboa. I'm Bernalillo County Commissioner for this district. Tonight, we are here because it is most important to me. Our community here, look how rich and beautiful we are. Everybody, look around. Thank you. I'm so glad we're out here, and we will have plenty of time to talk. But I wanted to make sure, what I want to make sure is that everybody has information about the public process, that will be before us. So again, today I have with me Commissioner Olivas. Commissioner Olivas, our chair for the Bernalillo County Commission. He serves our neighboring district. We have Mayor Chavez, Marty Chavez, who is here on behalf of the governor's office. And we have Dan Morning, who's here and will actually welcome us to this beautiful space and to tonight's meeting. I hope folks were able to get food. We planned for 200. I don't know where the food's at still. Will you welcome?
Yes. Well, can you hear me?
Sorry, I skipped a step. Can I ask?
Step has been skipped. We're giving it back.
Sorry, Mr. Dan Morning. I know this great community. Can you all come up closer? These are interpreters for this evening, and they'll be saying in the languages that we have available if people need equipment to get, so we could speak together tonight simultaneously.
Buenas tardes, tenemos interpretación de inglés al español disponible. Si alguien requiere un aparato para escuchar simultáneamente, favor de levantar la mano o ir a la mesa trasera. También hay materiales escritos en español en la mesa a la entrada.
中文普通话翻译，我将会在后边，然后如果你需要普通话翻译，到后边拿去设备。然後會議的翻譯資料呢，在中文的資料在前台領取.
Dạ, hôm nay sẽ có thông dịch viên bên Việt Nam, em sẽ ngồi ở đằng sau, ở bên kia. Còn nếu mà ai cần giấy thông tin thì sẽ tìm thấy ở trên cái bàn này ở đằng trước.
日本語通訳の上原まりです。日本語の通訳が必要な方は、そちらのテーブルの方で申請してください。ライン5です。Selamat Mahadias ma forsi sobat mekanamare herkese su forsi میخواستن گپزنن مدت با آخر مرمیتون پیدا کنین. Thank you.
مرحبا، أي أحد يتحدث اللغة العربية أنا هنا موجودة، فتشوفوني لورا وعارفة أطلبوا ترجمة. شكرا لكم.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Very important that we have language access. I grew up in these neighborhoods, and what I love most is that I got to hear all different languages when I went to elementary school, middle school, high school. So thank you so much to our interpreters for providing that access this evening. I'm going to give it back to Mr. Dan Morning so he can tell us a little about where we're at.
Okay, I'm back, and we're in process. So welcome, everybody. Thank you coming to New Mexico State Fairgrounds, Expo New Mexico. How many people here have been to the State Fair? Really? Anybody hasn't been to the State Fair? Out. No, kidding. I'm just kidding. The Mexico State Fair has a rich tradition in this community. Since 1913 officially, but it was a territorial fair in the 1800s. In 1938, this facility was built for the State Fair. It has been there ever since. We are excited about what the potential future of the fairgrounds might be. And I want to thank, first of all, Commissioner Barboa for really doing this. And Chairman, thank you for coming. And everybody involved. Again, education, I think, is a critical part of what needs to happen. I think a lot of people get excited, a lot of information here, people misinterpret, whatever it is. Tonight is a clarification of what's going to happen. Really, we're here to talk about the Tax Increment Development District, potentially up at this property. And again, it's a very exciting thing for the New Mexico State Fair Commission. And thank you. And we need some parkers and helpers too, so we're good. This is something that is critically important right now. And never has a time been where we need to figure out what the future holds for our community. The State Fairgrounds is a beautiful piece of property right in the middle of the city of Albuquerque and has been for many years. And we love what we've done to this property, but what the future holds, it remains to be seen. And I can tell you this, September 4th, the State Fair will be starting, and you need to get your tickets. There's Wyona. She wants to have her tickets right there. Get her some tickets. Wyona's right there on the first Friday. We are excited about what we're going to do here. But the State Fair, again, Expo New Mexico houses many, many events. We're a little bit more than just corn dogs and concerts, right? I mean, do you realize that during the pandemic, how many people got their vaccine or came and got tested out here at the fairgrounds? Yes, and we have a lot of vaccines going on. So again, this is something that is critical to understand about the fairgrounds, that it is more than just entertainment. It's more than just beautiful art shows. Matter of fact, we have Masterworks over here, Marla right here. Absolutely. There is an extreme recognition of culture. But right now we are housing, just to show you what we're doing, we're housing all the dogs and animals from the shelter from Bernalillo County because of the situation they were in. So we are there at drop's notice. Also, absolutely, we were here also right before fair, the tragedy that happened down in our community in Rio Doso, where they were not going to be able to have the American Futurity horse race. Lots of people put out of jobs. Within 48 hours, we had 1,500 horses out here working with the Downs of Albuquerque to ensure that that race went on and kept our economy going. Yeah, you bet. That's something to be proud of. This community, my staff, professional, they know what they're doing. We support the events that go out here, and we support this TID unbelievably well here. So appreciate you being here. From that, I'll turn it over to the Commissioner.
And I actually just want to ask all of our folks to introduce ourselves real quick. Then we'll jump into, and I do want to say, I know folks, hopefully we brought food. I hope everybody got some. If you didn't, I think there's some available. I know my biggest thing is that everybody has all the information. Tonight's an informational meeting. We're going to have plenty of opportunities, and that's what we're going to hear about. So I just ask for a little bit of patience, and I promise people have the opportunity to ask questions or provide comments.
Hi, good evening. My name is Anna Silva, and I'm the Acting Cabinet Secretary for the General Services Department.
Hello, good evening. My name is Eric Olivas, District 5 Bernalillo County Commissioner and Chair of the County Commission.
I'm Martin Chavez. I'm just a local kid.
He's here on behalf of the governor. I'm going to ask Carolyn Tobias to come and take us through the, many of you will have got the papers when you signed in. I know we ran out. Thank you for all showing up. We can email them to you. If you already signed in, we can email them out right after this meeting. And if you didn't sign up for email and just want us to send that one thing to you, we can make that happen. But I'm going to let Carolyn go through the information again. This is so that we all know the same information. You know what I know. We know everybody knows.
Thank you, Commissioner. And actually, the man of the hour is coming in right now. However, I just want to introduce to you, so you might hear us use the acronym TIDD, right? TIDD. We're saying TIDD, and it stands for Tax Increment Development District. And that's what we're here to talk about. That's what you may have seen introduced at the commission last month. And in just a moment, our Executive Development Officer for Bernalillo County will talk you through that. But first and foremost, we can go to the next slide. So, Marcos, do you want to come on over? So I'll put you on the spot, but... Okay.
So, the most incredible hard head you've ever seen.
Okay. Thank you. Apologize for being late as we just wrapped up another community meeting. So thank you for being here, everybody. So today we're talking about the Tax Increment Development District that's being proposed here for the state fairgrounds. And first of all, what is a TID? So it's a mechanism to be able to, that forms a district to be able to allow for certain tax increments. So in this case, gross receipt tax and property tax from the county, and if approved at the legislature of the state to pay for public infrastructure for specific projects. So in such as roads, water and sewer, ag space, and different items like that. The increments that are going to be used in this is up to 75% of the base, which meaning the base year is looking at 2023. So that means anything after 2024. So that means anything after 2024, 75% of the increment above that base is going to be used to pay for bonds to reimburse the developer, in this case, the state, for the public infrastructure that it's placing into the district. And the district is contained to just the Expo New Mexico. So everything highlighted in green is what we're talking about. And we are looking at how do we also maybe take some proceeds and beautify some of the public infrastructure surrounding the district as well. But we're still working on that plan specifically. But currently the TID would not include, because state law does not allow gaming revenue to be part of the Tax Increment Development District. So the racetrack and racino would not be included, nor would they receive any public infrastructure improvements from the TID either. Next slide. So next we're talking about, yes. Sorry. Okay, so we can go, does that better? Okay, cool. Sorry about that. So we go back to the previous slide just to cover that piece there again.
Maybe if I just
Okay.
work.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Is this feel better? So when we're talking about what is the Tax Increment Development District, so the district is it's a district that's formed at the local level to be used a percentage of the gross receipts tax and the property tax to pay for public infrastructure. In this case, it's a public TID, so meaning it's formed with the state of New Mexico and Bernalillo County to pay for public infrastructure within the specified district, which is the area that's colored in yellow. So just the Expo New Mexico piece. So what we're saying is there won't be no public infrastructure placed into the racino or the racetrack, and no gaming revenue would be part of the TID as well. The way that we're looking at that it's collected is that there's a base year that's established. So that meaning that only revenue after that specific base year is used. So in this case, it would be 2024. So that means any incremental activity happening after 2024, a portion of those proceeds would be used to pay for public infrastructure. You go to the next slide. So what we're talking about is how is a TID formed? So it's formed with an application which came from the state of New Mexico and working with Bernalillo County, and it's presented to the county commission for in what we call inducement or introduction, just letting the community know that it's being considered for adoption. Okay. Yes. Just so. And so during this 30-day process is a community interaction period, can talk about how the TID is formed and the benefits that will be happening from that. And then final adoption happens, formation of the actual district, which is an actual government. The TIDs are actual government entities as well, will be formed at the March 11th meeting. And then from there would need approvals at the New Mexico legislature to get bonding authority to actually be able to bond out for the specific projects. Do you want to go next slide? Cover that. So what there is bills right now in the New Mexico legislature to allow bonding authority for this specific TID if formed. And also there also be approvals that would need to be done at the New Mexico Finance Authority and the New Mexico State Board of Finance and the Legislative Finance Council as well. So these different groups are also checking for the economics of the projects and then also for the public investment into it. Go ahead. This slide is what we discussed as well as the incremental value that's included into the TID as well. So that just covers in general about how a TID is formed and how a TID works and for public infrastructure. But for the specific items of what it would pay for is within a TID plan, which is going to be driven a lot by what the master plan is for the state fairgrounds, which is being covered by the state fair and state of New Mexico. So I turn it over to Marty Chavez and to Dan Morning to speak more about what they actually want to see here that the TID would eventually end up paying for.
I just want to make sure to name out two things. Thank you so much, Marcos. This is our director, Marcos Gonzalez. He was at a late meeting that was at the county, so thank you for still making it. And there's 2 points. So we introduced this at the commission. That was one place. We did have a small amount of public comment. Tonight, I wanted to make sure before our final vote at the commission for the TID that the county has started in partnership with the state, that you all had the information, and March 11th will be the date that we vote on it, and you can also show or email or send in or call. You could do any way to submit public comment before we vote or on the day we vote on March 11th. So I just want to make sure folks know the places where they can give input, including tonight's meeting. I did want to ask about, so the other piece is that there is a master plan that I was told we would be going through. The master plan is saying that we were going to, part of what's our TID is that we're going to hire some folks to do a real economic development analysis, speak with stakeholders like yourselves and the surrounding businesses, speak to how this can impact the area and what's our best path moving forward. So I'm going to lend it back to you. Should this be you, Marty, or the secretary? I'm not sure. Great.
Well, thank you, everyone, for coming out. I want to recognize our county treasurer, Tim Eichenberg. Stand up, Tim. You have to stand up. He's also a former state senator, former state treasurer, and back when, back in a previous century, was the county treasurer back then. And we're both monarchs, so there you go. As is the secretary, too. That's Manzano, for those of you who didn't go to APS here. So about 6 months ago, the governor approached me and said, look, what's going on in the southeast part of Albuquerque is not sustainable. It's just not sustainable. And the mayor announced the new crime stats for the city this afternoon. Citywide, they're starting to go down slightly. Not over here. They're still going up. And you see it every day, the homicides, the unhoused run over, left dead on the street. It's a really serious problem. We have fewer police officers in Albuquerque today than we did 15 years ago. And then people wonder why crime goes up. In any event, she said, this idea about moving the fair, let's talk about it. Let's see what we can do. I want to be, well, if you don't want to, I'm sorry.
This money, you're displacing money. Your pocket is doing it. You do it like a drug function. Right. I don't know. You're in the truck. Let's get to the dog. Swing it alone. Yes, it's loud. Dude. Bring it
Folks, please. Listen, we understand everybody has extreme emotions. We do know that. We feel one way or the other. There will be a time when you will be able to do this. Yes, absolutely. So please.
Wait a second. I just asked real quick. I'm gonna ask real quick, but I almost don't have time. Let's say that there is no decision about the state fair yet. There is zero decision about the state fair yet. And we are just talking about all of the options.
Okay, Commissioner, I think I've been yelled at more in my lifetime than anybody up here, so I'm fine with it. So let me give you my email and my cell number. It's martychavez@gmail.com. My cell is 505-400-0501. I'll repeat it more times before we're done so you have it, because you're welcome to call me, yell at me, express yourselves, and that, because at the end of the day, the governor wants to make sure everybody is heard. Doesn't mean everybody. Okay. That's fine. It's America. At least we think it is. We hope it is. So here's the idea. We had a press conference not long ago here at the fair to announce this initiative. It was attended by the Speaker of the House, the Senator Pro Tem, the Chair of the County Commission, the Mayor, the City Councilor from the area, every elected official that touches the fairgrounds. Okay, and I would suspect that today they would not agree on what should be done, but here's what they all agreed on at that press conference. The current trend is not sustainable. We have to do something to rescue our community. Now, let me, what that will entail, we're at the very beginning of a very long process to decide what that is. I'm born and raised in Albuquerque, corner of Princeton and Catherine. I'm a graduate of Van Buren Middle School. Actually, that was a junior high school. Sorry to confess my age. So I know these neighborhoods intimately. Okay, so here's the idea. First off, all the revenues that are generated here, they go to the general fund in Santa Fe. They get distributed the way taxes get distributed. Your elected officials make those decisions in this democracy, representative democracy. The idea is to draw the geographic boundaries and capture that revenue. That's what TIDs do, so that it can be spent here. There's upsides and downsides to that. There's a little bit of loss to the general fund, but it does mean that you can concentrate money to solve problems. Whether it is moving the fair, which is on the table, it's absolutely on the table, or keeping the fair right here. What do we do as a community? Okay. Now, the governor has 2 years left in her tenure. I can assure you this is heartfelt on her part. When she drives up Central, like almost everybody here, it's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. Well, good. Be mad. This is America. There's a lot of mad Americans right now. Hey, I'm a Democrat, so there. Not to be partisan about stuff, but I'm very mad right now. Okay, so then here's the deal. We developed a master plan. It will be the product of extensive community input. The reason no decisions have been made is because we don't have the data yet. And we have to get the data. That's what happens in the master plan process. Kelly O'Donnell, our Harvard-trained economist, is on board. She's going to be doing a lot of crunching of numbers. We know that housing values have been somewhat static. Well, what does that mean? What would it mean if we moved the fair? Where would the fair go? If the fair stays here, what can be done to reinvigorate it to help use this real estate to transition and transform the neighborhood around us? One of the challenges I had to every elected official I met with is, what do you see on the horizon that will change the trajectory of the Southeast Heights? Nobody has anything that will change the current trajectory. Fentanyl is $2 a pill. And that's what you see all up and down Central, 10th on Central. I went to the District 6. I'm very proud to have the PIN meeting at the brand new library. They were cooking fentanyl outside of the library on Central in their tents. So the point is what we're doing is not changing things, and we need to change. So, invite the mayor. Was the mayor invited? Okay. So here's the process. If you want to know, here's the process. And again, decisions haven't been made. but we're going to have a conversation. It will include input from the community. The entire state, the state fair belongs to the entire state. We want to hear from everybody. The neighborhoods impacted in particular have an important voice in this conversation. The economics, does it make economic sense to do this? Right now, the state has money. Those of you who have been around for a while, Tim Eichenberg can attest to this. Sometimes we got lots of money, sometimes we don't. Right now we have money. How are we going to use it? How are we going to use it? And so that's part of the conversation. So decisions are made, but your input is important. Again, everyone will be heard, okay? Everyone will be heard. And again, it doesn't mean everybody gets their own way. I suspect if we pick 10 people from the crowd here, the audience here, we'll have 30 opinions. But we're going to have that conversation. And if the fair were to move, where would it go? What would a fair look like? What do modern fairs look like? We know that the kids from Chavez County and that prefer to be at the county fairs and regional fairs there because they just tend to do better anymore. It's not like when I was a kid growing up, and it was really all about coming to see the agriculture and then riding on the fair and getting in a couple of fistfights. Oh, well, that still happens actually once in a while, not very often. So that's the governor's perspective on it. She is serious about this. I am serious about this. We're going to do the work. We're going to listen to you. We're going to hear from you. And then decisions will be made. And that's why you elect people, to make important decisions. It's a representative democracy. And so I would invite you to talk to your commissioners, talk to your legislators, talk to the governor, talk to the governor's office. And I'm sure as soon as we're done with the session, she'll be available as well. Right now, she's kind of tied up with the session. But that's where we're at. It's martychavez@gmail.com. I prefer to avoid the four-letter stuff. It's not conducive to the way we see ourselves, or I see us as Albuquerqueans. But email me or list 505-400-0501. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marty Chavez. Again, this is an informational meeting, and when people are working in some mass web, what do you want to do here? This is why we held this meeting before we take a vote, because we want to hear from you. So now is the time, opportunity, ask questions. We have our economic development department here that can answer more specific. We have a lot of us here that can answer more specific. Tyson, can you help me run a mic? Oh, maybe not. Maybe somebody, okay. Oh, you help me run a mic? I got you. Here, Counselor Nicole Rogers is here. There's some representatives on here that already have their hand up. Oh, yeah, awesome. Thank you. She's getting worried about getting in the business. Thank you, Counselor. Yeah, that one is.
Hi. Hi, everybody. My name is Paul Chavez. I'm the executive director and founder of State of the Heart Recovery. We're in that little corner that's not included in the rectangle, so we literally abut the property here. And I want to first, thank everybody here that is elected and here to, bring information out. I think we see the frustration because the trust is just not there for political entities anymore, right? I think that this is not just Albuquerque, and it's not necessarily anybody here, because you all are here. So there's probably people not here that we would have more frustration about. But I founded State of the Heart Recovery because I was trying to address substance use, mental health, and homelessness, and I thought this was a good place to do it. And all that makes sense in my brain, right? But I don't know how. Well, I want to understand the jump of the connection, because we're doing a phenomenal job, building community and allowing them an opportunity to address that issue around substance use, mental health, and homelessness, and building purpose and building community and getting sober, right? And so how they're boarding up the buildings, it's like Central is southeast. I know the state fair is right here, adjacent, but the problem is not there. So I'm not saying that can't be part of a solution. I don't know anything about it yet. But if I was going to be focusing, I would focus on Central, because that's where the properties are being boarded up and ignored. And I don't understand why. There's just,
Thank you, Paul. Can you just ask a question? I want to thank you.
no, that's the question. How does it connect to that problem in the Southeast? Yeah.
Thank you. Nicole, yes. And I think there's a couple more hands up. Does anyone, I would just address that part. I don't, again, tonight's an informational meeting to say how can we have public input process. So if we do not, that's what tonight we want to make sure we all know the steps. So you can say, you can come to the commission meeting. The state has to also pass the TIDD. You can go to the state and say, hey, don't pass this, or yes, pass it, or pass it with these ideas. But part of what folks are asking, and I think what all our folks here who have been living the work up here on the fairgrounds are also asking for an open mind to say, what can we do that would have community input that could make some investment in the area? But agree. No, there's not an argument with that. Our whole community, our whole surrounding area needs investment. I stand. I don't have an answer. Tonight's informational, so we definitely are noting it. But in this process, you guys can take to the public bodies, the county commission, and the state, and the governor, and say what you want to do. We're gonna have. Okay. We are asking questions, we're noting them, and I'll give you the answers I know. Right now, there's not a decision between it. I do think there's a connection if we have an investment. I went to community before this, and people loudly told me, well, we don't want to leave an investment at the table, but we also don't trust that you guys are going to get it right. So I'm trying to provide multiple opportunities that we can hear what community wants and hopefully try to get it right. Okay, she has the mic, Nicole. She has the mic. We're going to take questions.
My name is Patricia Betancourt. I live in the Mark Twain area, and also my husband owns the Classic Bean and Body right across the street. I'm asking, what is this going to do for us? Is this really going to keep the homeless away? What is this on? No. Yeah. I don't think myself, I just want to say something really quick. That was my question. I don't think it's going to keep the homeless away. We need to get rid of the homeless first. But then also, let me let you know, yesterday I called the cops because I kind of live by the outer storage right there. There's a camp there right now in my backyard. And I called yesterday, they came today, but they moved 20 feet down after the cops left. So now they're just 20 feet a little bit north on the alley, right by Christy Mays.
Thank you so much. But this is what's going on in my neighborhood included.
Yeah. Thank you. We're going to go across to the other side of the room and we'll come back to this side, just to be fair.
Some of these points, we don't care about how you're financing. What's the point of the housing stuff? Are you going to go to check?
That is still the process ahead. We're trying to ask people what they want and include that in the process ahead. And also know if we don't want it.
Okay.
Move right your hand.
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead. Thank you so much. I didn't see the hands. Thank you. It's her turn to speak now. It's her time to speak now. Thank you.
I hear all of you because I live by McDonald's. We've had our house since 1976. Okay. Okay, wait a minute. Okay. I'm in agreement with you. Yeah. So these are I need to have. Thank you. I could agree with all of you and I could say all of these same things. My question is, you said the vote is March 11th. Do we only have until March 11th to put our requests in, our ideas in, our
No, it's like that. No, that's what I want to make clear. If everybody, the most important thing to leave with tonight is that there are multiple opportunities to engage. On March 11th, the county commission will be voting our piece to get it out of the commission. We've already introduced it. It's online, and we've shared the information on the public paper. On March 11th, we'll do a full vote to finalize the county's part in it. The state still has to vote on the TID, but the TID, I just want to make sure folks are clear. There has not been a decision about the fair. There's not been a decision about anything. What we're saying is, if we get this money, like we're saying, finance it, where would we want to use it? What about affordable housing? What about entrepreneurs? What about those surrounding businesses? How can we invest in this community so that we can see that benefit? But again, this is why this meeting is here tonight. If you absolutely don't want a $1 billion investment, come and speak your piece at the county commission. That's one stop point. The state is another.
All right, we're going to go to the next question, but just to be respectful of each other, can we please just listen to who has the mic? So and the screaming and things, that's not how we do it here. And we were all adults, and let's be respectful, please, of the folks who are speaking. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. My name's Pat Hauser, and I have two questions. First question is there a state fair master plan like was done for the Balloon Fiesta master plan? The answer to that is,
I believe no, and that's why we have an RFP out for a master plan.
I think before this goes very far, that there needs to be a very comprehensive plan that is put together that spills out to the directions, the thoughts that went into it, and make it available that you have a Balloon Fiesta master plan that is then mirrored inside of the state plan.
Thank you, sir.
And I would also suggest that Nicholas Ham and Amara Lopez spent a lot of time putting together the Bernalillo County comprehensive plan.
Yes.
And that took weeks and months. And so that needs to be happened. A process needs to be put in place. We're working with institutionalized bias on how this thing is being done and run. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And just to say, one step in this process is a master plan. But that has been up for RFP. Who gets it? And we want to create a master. We're saying a 6-month master planning process.
Thank
you.
What other TIDs are currently in existence, and what are they doing?
Sure. Go ahead.
Sure. The ones in our district, I know for sure, we have a Mesa del Sol TID. It's working right now on bringing infrastructure to the Mesa, water, all of the different infrastructure that we need up there. We have the South Campus TID that's specific to UNM and all of the building and development that's going to happen on the South Campus. Those are the two in our district that we have currently.
That's a great question, to show examples of what a TID can do. And thank you, Nicole.
Hello, everybody. My name is Derek Matthews. I'm the founder, director, and producer for the Gathering of Nations Powwow. Not only is it by volume in 2.5 days, but across the world, it is the largest event in the state of New Mexico and the largest Native American event in North America. We moved on to the fairgrounds because we ran into unfair actions at UNM, a very racist place.
Yes.
Since we've been here, I have to speak to Dan because the fair was going down. We walked in and immediately saw a different place in the making. A lot of repairs, a lot of infrastructure. We got to know his crew. He employs a lot of people from the community who without his work would not have a job.
Yes. Yeah, let's do it.
And I've seen that in action. His Christmas party, he invites all the workers and gives everybody a gift that's something they may not be able to afford. The Gathering of Nations not only is North America's biggest powwow, it's the biggest damn thing in the state. And with that being said, all of our vendors, all of our small vendors and everyone else benefits from what we do. Since Dan brought us here and said, use this as your template, use this to pave what you want to do here. We have increased it, we've enlarged it, we invite everybody. I was impressed with it.
Excuse, sir?
I will get to it.
No,
I will get to it.
What would be your vision then, since you are someone who uses...
I will tell you, I will get to it. Sit down and be patient. I will be disrespectful, but I will want to get my piece. So, what we do is better than anything that you could imagine. And to take this fairgrounds from under here, you're going to lose $1 million in the neighborhood every year or more. Not only just with what we do, but what the other folks out there are making. We don't just bring people from the community and recycle that money. We bring the world. to your neighborhood. And that needs to stay. Marty, I've always wondered what your problem was because years ago, you wanted to get rid of it a long time ago. So I asked Dan, maybe that is your problem. Maybe you had a bad experience at the fair. Well, whatever it is, it's about politics and not the community. I don't have a question, it's a statement.
Thank you so much.
Let's say so. You got it. This is our policy.
So my question is, I've heard that you have already gotten some submissions of RFPs. Is that correct?
I would like to ask the state that they were running that process, and so I don't know the answer to that.
So, in addition, when you do get RFPs, is there going to be a way that you're going to communicate that to us so that we can know who the developers are and that we can do research on finding out what they want and what their plans are, and then allow us input into the decision after the RFPs are all submitted?
Yes, definitely. So there was an RFP that was being run by Expo New Mexico, and we have canceled that RFP today. And what we are going to do is we're going to run it through the General Services Department. We currently are working on a master plan for the Fort Baird master plan. We're working on the master plan for Albuquerque. We currently have one here, and we just completed one in Santa Fe. So the RFP is going to be resolicited next week. And at that point, when it is awarded, you will all be invited to the public meeting with the master planner to give your input. The master plan will take roughly 6 to 8 months to complete. And the master plan focus is going to be either keeping the fair here, so you can all give your input at that point, or possibly moving it. So as the mayor described, there are multiple options, but one of the options is definitely to keep it here. So
that's what we want. That's all I have to say.
I just have a point to make real quick. I was in Dallas recently. Their state fair is in the middle of their city. A friend of mine told me they were in LA. The state fair is in the middle of their city. Granted, there's people that don't come, but the people that do, when I worked at the mall and worked around here, the kids that come in from the state, they're coming to the big city to go to the fair. It's a big deal to come to the big city. I don't think it's going to be a big deal for them to go out to Las Lunas or Moriarty or whatever else. But my question is I do not understand why the city and the state do not have enough money to do something about everything that's going on from San Mateo all the way down to Tramway. It's so sad. And I think the other thing, too, is people that own property along Central need to be held accountable for how clean those lots stay. They have run more business out of here, the homeless. We lost Walmart. We lost Walgreens. We're in a food desert. And you guys talk about doing this. You need to put your money somewhere else.
Next question, and then we're going to come to the other side of the room. Come up here for a second, and then you go to that.
Go right ahead.
I just want to make a statement. Look at Central. It's a hellhole, okay? You knock these walls down, this protected property, and it's going to be a flood. They're going to infest this whole place like a bunch of cockroaches, I'm telling you right now. This community is lucky to have the fair here. It's one of the big events in the whole place. You got the balloon fiesta. You got the fair. It's been here for years. It's got so much history here. And you're just going to take a wrecking ball to it? That's just sad. That's like places in New York City. They don't care about history. If it means making money, they will knock down the Empire State Building. I mean, they will destroy anything. They don't care. It's about making money, okay? I've worked at this fair. I'm a flea market vendor here. I've been here 25 years. It's all I do for a living. You're going to take my job away. Okay? I have physical problems. I can't hold a regular job. Doing this 2 days a week, by Monday, I'm in a lot of pain, but I am so grateful to God that I have a job. Okay? Please don't take this from me. It's all I have. And like I said, you take it away, you're going to make the problem worse.
I want to add 2 cents to that. Is just that, remember, Marcos told us today that whatever money is derived out of this has to go to public infrastructure. Then there will be parts where private dollars will be involved. But when we say we want preservation of a flea market, let's put some of that money into making a really awesome flea market, or not. I'm just saying that all options are still on the table.
Okay, she's going to go to this person and Craig, and we'll come to you. Hi, my name is Folly Aron. I've lived in Albuquerque since 1968. My grandparents moved here in 48. I live near the fairgrounds. So I'd like to know who's lobbying to move the fair out, and who's going to make the money when the fair moves. Edgewood, somewhere like that where nobody wants to go.
What else? Yes, right now, as I want folks to understand this, right, is that the proposal at hand surrounds this area, the green area. The reason why we could do this is because it's state-owned land and it's county jurisdiction. So we can say the places we make money off of already through taxes and GRT and property taxes, we can say instead of those going into the general fund, like the secretary explained, they can go into saying we're going to put that investment in this. Well, the other thing that's been said is that master planning process would be opportunities for stakeholders, like everybody in this room, to say, okay, you've taken all that GRT and you put it into a pot. What are you going to do with it now? Yeah, you asked who's going to get the money. There's nobody getting the money except public dollars. Well, the governor brought it to us. The governor brought it to the county. The governor.
I'm sorry.
Well, I think that's a good question. Of who would benefit, but the governor brought it. That's the answer I have.
Hello, my name's Gabby. I am the general manager of Dion's. I'm not a spokesperson for Dion's. I'm just here as a concerned community member. So I have 2 questions. My first question, what is being voted on March 11th and who's voting? That's one of 2.
Yes, the county commission will be voting on March 11th. We introduced a state-county combined joint TID that was introduced about 30 days ago. And our process is that we have a 30-day waiting period, so we get public comment, and then we will vote on March 11th to whether we pass that TID. Once that passages, it means a TID has been formed, but the state still, as I understand, the state still has to also pass it. So as I'm saying, there's an opportunity on March 11th to say, but also to keep I just don't want folks to understand that there is an opportunity through a master plan to say what you would want here, even if it's a super high-tech fair or what it would be, I don't know. But this is what the opportunity is to have multiple times that community can say what they want here.
So the TID is separate from the actual movement of the fairgrounds. The TID is just to finance things. Okay, so that's a good clarification. In terms of actually moving the fairground, which is something that y'all put on the table, nobody really understands the why behind that. It's starting to feel a lot like the art project in terms of the community outreach aspect. I'm not going to talk too much about that, but I'm really curious, what actions are y'all taking to survey community and economic impact? Is there some sort of actual scientific, measurable, studyable survey that's going to happen? Because as a local business leader, this would have a tremendous impact on my personal economy and the economy of my neighborhood.
Yes, thank you. This is awesome, my neighborhood. I agree. And the master plan is the place. So is the TID. What's written in the TID now talks about public dollars can go to public benefit. And the master plan would be that. Thank you for bringing a master plan. The master plan would be the opportunity. I'm going to let Nicole go to the next. The master plan, like she said, is up for an RFP. I've been told it'll be a 6-month process in which they go through a whole bunch of stuff that I don't know, that they get to see what would be the investment, where would it be best invested, and my hopes to benefit the surrounding community and our state.
I'm Janet Bridgers. I live nearby. I have most of my life. A basic question is, what are the boundaries of where the TID is implemented? Is it just income that would come through the fair? Because that only happens, once a year. And gross receipts tax from fair, there's a lot of money that flows at the fair, but is it all accounted for in a way that gross receipts tax would be separated? And, you know, from that, does this impact the neighborhoods around? What are the boundaries then?
Sure. The current boundaries are the geographic confines of the state fair. There's conversation about acquiring the southwest corner or the northeast corner of San Pedro and Central to make a full block. And that way to have an impact on San Pedro and Central. The fair itself doesn't generate that much in gross receipts. The flea market, I think, last year generated about $49,000 in gross receipts to the state. Not a big moneymaker. The Racino generated over $12 million, and that's real money to do things. So, if they've got a 12-year lease. The casino does. Yeah, well, that's, you know, they have a 12-year lease, and in America they got their lease. So, if the fair were to move, here's the governor's vision, and that is to do massive infill, mixed use, mixed income, walkable neighborhood, green space that generates gross receipts that stays in the area. One other aspect of this, and that is to bring Albuquerque public schools. I met with the superintendent 2 weeks ago. We've identified all the public schools in what I call the impact area. I have all their capital plans. Capital money, for those of you who don't know, is we build stuff with it. So how you operate is how you build stuff. And so one of the thoughts is to be able to have the TIDD throw off capital dollars to the area public schools to build them up, because schools anchor neighborhoods. And ultimately, the target's not the fair. The target is the neighborhood around here to change what's going on. So that's where the gross receipts would come from. They would come from infill. The gross receipts from would stay in the area. It's basically pulling ourselves up by our own bootstraps.
Outside the boundaries.
Well, depending on how you design the TID, yes. For example, we've got a 501c3 up the street, a ministry that's doing a land trust. It's a really interesting idea. And as I envision, as a governor envisioned, we'd have the authority to put some money there to help the different areas. Because again, it's not about the fair, it's about the area around it. When I was a kid, this was the third largest fair in the country. It's not the third largest fair in the country. And no, I have wonderful experiences, Derek, in the fair. And no, I don't think UNM is a racist institution.
Nicole, we're right over. Oh, to my ear. Hi, guys. Zia Martinez. You might have seen me around, but I have a question for everybody here, actually. If we've had this happen a lot where government just steamrolls over us, and so likelihood of it happening again is real. So the question for everybody here is, how are we going to come up with the solutions for our community and force them to invest it in the money they're already going to use, right? So that's the question, not clean it up, but how are we going to create sustainable situations for us? Because they're here to give us a voice. It's probably going to happen. What do we need, right? And how can we make it happen? Thank you. I'd love to hear folks. Can you, let's get her next and I'll get this. Sure. You've been raising your hand.
Mr. Morning, when you report back to your boss, you can let him know that it was Vanessa Alexander heckling you. There's something, my name is Vanessa Alexander. I'm an investigator. I'm also involved in the horse racing industry. What I have been uncovering for the last 3 years and exposing has been absolutely reprehensible as far as what's going on with the New Mexico Racing Commission and the governor. But I'm telling you right now, all roads that I have discovered, all roads lead back to Paul Blanchard, the owner of the Downs at Albuquerque and that $12 million casino. And there is, right now, his hand-picked commission, racing commission, which we're supposed to have 5, by the way. Right now, there are only 3 potato heads on the commission. One doesn't even know what a horse is. But the master plan for them is to decouple the racetracks from their casinos. What they have done, and since 2021, when they named Sam Bregman the chairman of the commission, who, by the way, since 2005, has been the registered agent, the registered representative, and the registered attorney for the scandal and fraud-plagued horse racing at Raton that was caught up in the SEC scandal where New Mexico lost about $1 billion. It's all the same little group. So what they are hoping to do with whatever they're planning to do in the green, you can bet your butts that Mr. Blanchard and his decoupling plan to, oh, and by the way, the bills are already in the legislature right now. The tracks are asking the legislature to let them start running their race meets elsewhere so they can keep their casinos going 24/7 and ka-ching, ka-ching. But the reason the racinos even exist is because of the racetrack and the horsemen. So what they have done in the last, since 2021, with Sam Bregman leading the helm, who, by the way, permanently banned public comment for the first time in the Racing Commission's history after Senator Candy Ezell, myself, and the mother of Todd Fincher, okay, one of the most recognizable trainers in the world, Mr. Bregman was forced for the first time to actually obey the Open Meetings Act. And he responded by cutting the meeting short, throwing one of his little Sam Bregman hissy tirades, and banned public comment. So whatever it is you guys have got planned, okay, none of us in this room are buying it. None of us.
None of us dying. Information. I'm going to pass it to this woman over here.
Talk later. Done.
Hello, my name is Cipriana Martinez. I live in the neighborhood right here. As it seems to be, this meeting is not super solid on what we're doing here, but I had more questions about how we're going to support the communities. I know we have our heritage, the other buildings that are around the state fairgrounds. We do so much other things with them. We have Tingley Coliseum, we have these other things. So what other communities can we bring into this state fair expo space? Because not all of the space is totally used when we bring in the giant state fairground, like machines and all that. And I think, homelessness is a huge problem and it's a humanitarian crisis. We should be helping people out there. There's so many people that are mentally ill and they're not getting the resources they need. And unfortunately, we only have this space to fund money into, money that's already there, money that our state has, which our state should have a lot more money since everybody started smoking weed, but whatever. I feel like my question is, what communities, and I'm not just asking this group in front of me, but I'm asking you guys too. We have communities that we're already supporting on the expo grounds. Who else wants to come forward? Who else needs the representation in our communities, our minority communities, our marginalized groups? Thank you very much.
All right, sir. Right over here.
Yeah. So my name is Karthik Arnand. I'm a licensed substance abuse addiction therapist with State of the Heart. I've been with Paul for about a year now, and seeing this, honestly, you have a community of 5,000 homeless people, 65% of which are veterans who serve this country. And this is where our taxpayer money is going? To restructure a fairground or to change our fair? I mean, it's people like Paul, people like myself, people like CPSWs that are out there making the change. I mean, you guys can funnel this money to something else. We spent all through December, you had 3 meetings on metro housing initiatives. Why isn't this money going to something like that? I'm not a financier, but if that wasn't my choice, I would veto this. I'd be like, that money can go to help the homeless people. State of the Heart, currently, we have put just a small ding in that 5,000 homeless people. We have 198 recovering alcohol addicts, drug addicts, and people with mental health issues. We are the ones out there.
Thank you so much.
And the reason is because people that are elected are not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Thank you so much.
We're going to make that change.
Yes, we can. Just for clarity's sake, the money, everybody is right that there are buckets of money all over our state that are spent or accounted for. These dollars, if spent through this process, the Tax Incremental District process that has been proposed, but that can only stick to the grounds in which it was, in which we draw those boundaries. So just to say that, but not to say that there's not other ways that we should be funding exactly what you're talking about.
You guys have it all in stock?
She's the read that one more.
We forgot to.
We do. We do. That's why we're holding this tonight. So thank you for being rude.
I do not understand that you guys are 13 days away from the voting and you're bringing up public opinion now?
We did a 30-day process. But that's what we're hearing from you. It wasn't required. I brought it together.
What about you on this?
Hello. What are your proposed sites for the next state fairgrounds?
There is still zero decision about whether the state fair will be here or not. Thank you to the woman who sort of got it right, that this does not mean that's what a master planning process would be. But we can hold off processes for many good for master plans.
Because we house a lot of events here. We have the Gathering of Nations. We have the professional bull riders. We have all these celebrity concerts.
I love it.
And we have abundance of situations that we make a lot of bank money here. And, it just serves our whole community and the businesses as well. But, you have to clean up this homeless before you do anything. Just get it out. Fix it.
Thank you. I'm going to let this sir go first. Next.
My name's Kerry Barton. I live in a Mark Twain neighborhood. I only have a couple of things to say. One is, this young lady made a comment about the legalization of marijuana. This man laughed at it. There's several $1 million that have been lost and can't be accounted for in the legislature. That money was found. You wouldn't be asking us for our tax dollars to fund this. Again, my question is, there's a surplus of money in the legislature. You say this money's going to go to the general fund to be used for this. We all know if it goes to the general fund, the legislature is going to use it for their poor bill projects within their district. Again, why are you asking me to spend my tax dollars to fund this when you increase grocery receipts tax and property tax? Why can't the state pay for it with the money that they have?
Thank you very much. I just want to make the clarity points that I do know that our cannabis dollars do go into the general fund. Our state legislature makes a decision through House Bill 2 that they're doing right now about where roads are going to be, but it's for the whole entire state. So our state legislature does that with those cannabis dollars. So we're talking about different pockets of money. I just want to make sure I'm trying to share as much information. There is no plan yet, because this meeting is to ask folks what they want and to make sure you know that it's even happening.
So I want to address, sorry, my name is Benjamin Armand. I'm a community health worker here. I'm right off of Zuni in San Mateo. I want to say I think a lot of people here are on the same page, but I don't believe you guys are expressing the possible uses effectively. I'm hearing a lot of people say that that there is a mass homeless problem. Again, I advocate for people every day. That is my job. And I hear people say this is somehow going to harm the population when I believe that this was a possible, again, proposed housing area. And so I'm talking, is this going to be rapid rehousing? Is this transitional housing? Is this permanent housing? And so I think you guys need to express better the proposed options. When people seem to think that this is going to be, again, harming the homeless population, they're talking about proposed housing. They're talking about proposed housing here for that population. That is a possibility. I understand if your livelihood is tied into this area, but I think people are arguing against themselves when they say that they are, again, there's a homeless problem. How can we fix it? And then saying, what do you mean you're going to put housing here? What do you mean you're going to put community health centers? That is a proposed option. And I need you guys to say that because no one seems to understand.
I would love to say that if I could promise it. What I can say is that's what I want in my heart. I know Councilor Rogers, because we've talked about this, feels similar. We want housing truly affordable for the area. We want ultimate green space. We want urban agriculture. But that master planning process and whoever runs the TIDD will be able the ultimate decision makers, right? And that's why I wanted to engage the community, because it could be an investment if we get it right, and it could be harm to our community.
Eric has a voice. Then they used to work again.
Yeah.
Which we need to tell people don't know that. I have to
Yes.
They would like to know these people.
Okay, thank you. I just want to ask the state really quick, if either members of the state that are here, if there is a greater vision for the area that the governor would like to see, or if there's a blueprint that of what we'd like to see. Is there? I think you've sort of went to it. Do you have any?
That's what the plan, developing the master plan is all about. What will it look like? It's a community process. Develop a master plan. Just because you have a master plan doesn't mean it gets put into place. But at least then we've got something to talk about. And in the development of a master plan, we've got something to talk about and share our ideas. Just because a TID is in place doesn't mean the fair is moving. It may mean it stays here. That's just in the vehicle for capturing more revenue to be spent right here to address the problems in the neighborhood. Hope that answers the question.
No, as much as we can. We are trying to be transparent.
One more back here, Commissioner. Hi, my name's Suzanne, and I live in the neighborhood over there. I have just a couple of quick comments. If you could switch back to the one that has the email on it, because I noticed people are taking photographs of the emails so people can put in their comments like we're supposed to. Thank you for that. You had mentioned other ways for us to comment, and since I do live in the neighborhood that's just to the west of us here, I think it would be lovely. I'm not going to say what I do for a living, but we are data-driven, and it doesn't matter how well you play violin or how cute you are as a sixth grader. It's data-driven. So a public survey, like we survey our kids, every single year, go house to house with a survey of what would you like to see here, what would you not like to see here, and anything else we haven't thought of. Like, is there something you studied for that wasn't on the test? Again, I'm not saying what I do, but I think you figured it out. So, and then the TID has to stay here. So the Stephen Green, am I getting this right? The money that comes from the green area, for lack of a better word, has to stay in the green area, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Because you had briefly mentioned APS and the public schools in the area, and well, it would be lovely to have refrigerated air. Sometimes capital plan money gets distributed to the other side of the city because of population growth. And so I'm very concerned that the green money that stays here stays in the green area. And that's my only comment. I would love it personally if the fair stayed here, but I would also love it if we had better things for the homeless. But if that needs to be a TID that's south of Central by 50 feet, then so be it. So thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you so much. And it's my information that the money has to stay here. I'm going to ask Mr. Chavez, who probably knows more than I do about this. Well, okay, we can have our economic development guy.
Thank you. So the money that we were saying, the money does stay in the green area, but we can also use it in off-site infrastructure improvements, which means improvements along Central, San Pedro, Alomas, and Louisiana, the borders, the area. But that's part of the master plan process about what we need to discuss, be putting into the TID plan that can be look at improving offsite infrastructure to make some of the improvements that we've been hearing from you this evening. So both improving public infrastructure, both on the fairgrounds, and looking at how can we improve offsite public infrastructure as well. And that's something that we'll have to be working through in the master planning process about what actually is going to be happening on the site.
And then just before we go to the next commenter, I do have a survey on my website. If you go to CABQ District 6 projects, you can click there, and it's literally just tell us your thoughts so that we can gather those in a coordinated way and send them up. So again, just Google CABQ District 6, and you can find the survey, and you can type into your heart's content, because we really do need it.
And we will use it. Thank you, Councilor Rogers, for making that happen.
Can I speak? Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Pete Denelli, and I came here this evening as an observer with the intent of writing an article. But there's a number of things that have been said this evening that I feel very compelled very strongly about that I feel I need to address. I was born and raised in Albuquerque.
I raised a family just south of the state fairgrounds that have lived in that area for the last 45 years. I've seen what's happened to this community, what's happened to our community. I want to make something very, very clear. I'm strongly opposed, under any circumstances, from moving the state fairgrounds. With that said, I have to agree with Mayor Chavez, who, by the way, used to be my boss, and now I can talk back to him anytime I want. But anyway, he made a very strong point that what's happening now to the state fairgrounds, and what Dan Loney has said, what's happening to state fairgrounds, is not sustainable. And the reason it's not sustainable is because we have failed over the last number of decades to invest into the state fairgrounds. Now, there's two issues that I'm going to address and take very strong exception to. There was a comment made that we cannot clean up Central. I reject it outright because we did it. We did it 15 years ago. Up and down Central, we took out and tore down 8 motels. We took aggressive action against properties throughout the city of Albuquerque. Up to 1,000 nuisance properties we actually took action against every year. For anyone to say that we cannot clean up Central, you're buying into the arguments been made by the current mayor of Pollard. They can clean up Central because we did it before.
Thank you. Do you have a comment?
The second issue was getting not being concerned about the those that are addicted to narcotics and the homeless. This is the fact. Without setting aside the emotions, the city has spent over the last 4 years upwards to $400 million to help the unhoused, building shelters, and also the Gibson, the West Side Shelter. The point is, we can address the unhoused issue because the money is now being spent. The real question is it being spent properly? And it is not. I submit to you, it is not. We
talk about the TID because I think right now you're taking a platform that isn't the space.
Let me, Commissioner, if you don't allow me to finish this, I'm trying to address some of these issues. I think I have the right, given my background, to be able to address it.
Let's get it.
The next issue regarding the TILs, keep in mind, what this is nothing but financing. Back in December, the governor had a beautiful letter press conference with the Speaker of the House and everybody else, and they talked about moving the state fairgrounds and patting themselves on the back. What a great idea this was. They did that without having any idea where they're going to move it to.
No.
And the issues in RFP, I don't know if you picked up what was said by this young man here. They canceled the RFP. This governor wanted to move forward and have it done within 2 years. That's obscene. It's not going to happen. At least this thread now comes up with an option of coming with financing that will be able to be taken and invest in that particular area. Any suggestion that it's not going to be able to be used, that can be used elsewhere, is simply wrong, because that would violate the law. The goal is to come up with the financing. That's going to take, if it's rejected, nothing's going to happen. If the financing is rejected, that money will be invested in road areas, in sewer areas, and building up this area. And the fact is, it'll be able to attract businesses or what have you. If you, for example, just an example, create an entertainment district.
Yes.
Which would include tearing down this abomination that we call Tingley Coliseum and building a state-of-the-art Coliseum.
Hey.
You can do it all you want, but what I'm trying to tell you, these are all proposals.
Okay, thank you.
This is just the first step. Give these people a chance to talk about the financing, listen to what they have to say, recognize you're going to have a chance to talk about the RFP. With that said, I want to thank you for your patience. Even though you wanted to cut me off, I appreciate being able to talk. Take care of yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Next.
Pete, I just want to thank you for your comments.
People who haven't spoken.
This young woman is a cabinet secretary. This is Secretary Silva, and she deserves that respect.
We'll continue. Thank you. And this is the governor's TID. So it's almost 7. I want to make sure, right? Am I right? Let's go to 7 with public comment. We have the community survey. We have March 11th. We have the state process where we were informed that the state has already put their bills. So also contacting your legislature. If you live here, I'm sure your senator and your representative will want to hear from you right now, as those bills, Senate Bill 481 and Senate Bill 482, are in the state legislature right now. So let's take it the last step to 7 p.m. with comment, and then we'll still have more ways to give comment later. Thank you.
The nods. Hi, my name is Rex Stone, just a guy. So, I just want to see if I can catch up here. But we're gonna, if we approve the TID, so some revenue will start to be collected for improvement of this area. At some point down the road, though, there's going to be a decision made about whether we move the state fair or keep the state fair here, and whether we put a housing development here, or those seem like kind of the things where we're headed towards. Who can make that decision? Who will make that decision? Where will that decision occur? So if we approve the TID here, it feels a little bit like, okay, we're headed full speed towards a housing development, but that doesn't seem like it has to be the case. Well, who will make the decision after we collect everybody's inputs about how to use this area as to exactly how the area will be used?
Yes, those two, there right now 2 bills at the legislature. One includes the county as the board. Another includes the state as the majority of the board, with 1 seat for county commissioner and 1 seat for the mayor. Those will be the ultimate deciders. What I'm hoping for is that the master planning process would be so solid, everybody would say what they want, and that master plan would be the guidance. But again, we heard from the mayor, from our former mayor, I know to be true, but that's only as real as somebody's going to adhere to it.
Yeah, and again, that's Senate Bill 481 and Senate Bill 482. You can go right to the legislation website and follow where those are going. I'm advocating for your city councilor does not have a seat on that. If the state TID does pass, your city councilor does not have a seat on that board, and I would like to fight for that. As your representative with Commissioner Barboa, who does have a seat, as rightfully so, and I understand why. That was not, please don't get me wrong, that was not on purpose. It's just because the county is who would be over that TID, and that makes absolute sense. I'm just asking for a seat at that table for us.
Hi, my name is Arturo. I was asked today on Facebook, on the State of the Art website, they have, how can they help me? And I put, you are really helping me in a big way. I think it's the best program in Albuquerque. I've been in other programs, and I feel that there's growth in this program. You guys are reaching out to the ones that nobody else wants to reach out to, and you're doing big things. You made a big impact on Albuquerque. 190 people in housing, off the streets. They're not robbing and mobbing no more. They're living a good life and sobriety. God bless this program. God bless you guys. And I think, and I'm very grateful. You giving me the light at the end of the tunnel, and I hope my kids and my grandkids are calling me grandpa because they're proud of me, and that makes 22 of them. Thank you. I continue to try to do good and let nothing get in my way of my sobriety. And like the CSWs here, they put their heart into their work. Another thing I wanted to say, it doesn't matter if you move the state fair to Alaska. The problem's here with the community. We need to get together and help. That's where the problem's at.
Thank you. But yeah, I'd like to just know a little more about the RFP. Is the RFP to write the management plan, or is the RFP for developing the land?
So the RFP is supposed to be for a master plan. We just heard from our secretary tonight that they canceled the RFP that was open, and they're going to resolicit it through the General Service Division. And that master plan RFP, whoever gets that, would be responsible then for making sure that all stakeholders are part of it and that we're all informed about the best economic development opportunity for this area.
Good job. My name is Gail Malloy. I think nearly all of us here know that the fairgrounds did not cause the problems that we're now having with crime in the Southeast. That has been caused by a lack of leadership on the state level, the city level, and local leadership. And so we know that did not cause it. Tearing it down would actually, as one gentleman mentioned, make the whole thing just for a good time, a homeless camp, and people to continue to break into our homes, of which I am one of the victims. I walked in, and 2 people were in my house robbing it. They broke in a window. This is now becoming common. Removing the fairgrounds will destroy our neighborhood. It is a source of income. It is a positive source of income, and if anything, we should be using money to make it better, to upgrade facilities and make it more of the gem that it is in the center of town. I also wish we had a say in this, a vote. It belongs to the state, but we don't really have any say in it. I have a strong feeling that Michelle Lujan Grisham has already selected a group of people to get her agenda passed, which is to get this fairgrounds torn down before she is out of office. And if anybody thinks that this is not a moneymaker, you're wrong. Those things have gone on our entire lives. How do you think politicians get rich? This is a big moneymaker, and these people are not going to pass up the opportunity to make this money. When and if this happens, that this fairgrounds is gone, we will never, ever get it back, and our neighborhood will never, ever recover. Yes, sir. I don't know, I'm getting more poor, and really myself, I'm getting more poor.
Commissioner, a question for the Cabinet Secretary. So when we talk master plan, my understanding is it's twofold. There's a visionary master plan, and there are master plans that are land use master plans. So 2 questions. First one is which are we talking about? And secondly, if it is a land use master plan, who has jurisdictional authority to review and approve that? And full disclosure, my name's Dan McGregor. I am a county employee, but I am a resident of Jerry Klein neighborhood, and I'm here in that capacity this evening asking that question.
There's another one. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So it's both. And the ultimate decision maker for the land use master plan will be the state. It's state-owned property. However, I do want to reiterate that nothing is happening to the fair without your input. So there is an option that the fair stays, and the master plan can incorporate the fair staying put with something else for the land. So we don't know. So the master plan is going to include facility condition assessments for the buildings, economic development, land use opportunities, and options to either keep fair here or move the fair. So, and that is going to incorporate everybody's input. So you guys will all be a part of that process.
I told about it.
One more back there, and then we'll do the last one up here.
This one side.
Where's the
Out to shop its bugs out.
Okay, I live in the Jerry Klein area also, and I have been one of the leaders of the area, so I've been in charge of the neighborhood association, and I'm here representing our entire block area. And I'm gonna let you know that I am very concerned about the double talk that's going on tonight, because my brothers, every single one of them are engineers. Every single one of them asks for an RFP, and I find it ludicrous that all of you up here are using all of these acronyms and you're not explaining to people what they mean.
Thank you.
If you have an RFP, it stands for Request for Proposal. They told you during this meeting that when the RFP is sent out, that we will have input as to what's going to happen in the RFP. In other words, they're going to give us 30 to 60 days to have input of exactly what we want to put in there. But they will have already decided the main framework. So all you get to do is decide, do we want high-rise buildings? Do we want low-rise buildings? We have already lost the ability to have input as to what
the RFP was for because we haven't even been given that information. We need to be given, as neighborhood associations that are directly going to be impacted, and we will be impacted. Our property values will change. Our ability to sell and buy homes will be changed. The city and the state will not change our evaluations on a house. If they go down, they will stay the same. So we need to get information from the surrounding areas. You need to include the legitimate neighborhood associations in the conversation about what is being considered with these kid things going on here before you send out the RFPs.
Thank you. So thank you for, we should not use acronyms. I want to be transparent. Request for proposal. Okay, we'll take one more and then this will be our last one. But request for proposals, right now, there was one out and it is public information. The state, county, and city are required to put that in public spaces. If you sign up, I will promise you that every step I know, I will share out the public site it's on. Right now, we heard from the secretary that the current RFP that was out has been canceled. So that means there's a renewed opportunity for when the new RFP comes up to also, but that RFP is for someone to help develop a master plan. And that master plan process, as I was told, will be about 6 months. The 30 days, March 11th is the day that the county votes on the fiscal money part of it. But the master planning process will be, I've been told, will be a 6-month process in which a company is hired to come and make sure we're figuring out all the necessary information to make this good project for the community. 1 and 2.
Hi, my name is Deborah White, and I live south of Trumbull towards Gibson. We're retired, licensed social worker, retired from the VA, and I really want to talk to the young men that wanted to know why there's so many veterans on the street. I think I can help you with an answer on that afterwards. But I just want to give a little bit of feedback. 3 times now, sitting here, I've heard that to tear this down means there will be an implode of such. And I agree with that. When they fenced off the alleyways, something had to be done. I get it. I understand some agencies are really straggling for what can we do about this homeless situation. It's a pandemic of its own. They've been my clientele for the last 13 to 15 years. But when they fenced all that off, what happened was, it's like if you take a rug and everything that's on that rug flows forward, and they flowed forward. So now we're forming watches for when there's fires in the neighborhoods, when there's campgrounds starting to build up. So yes, if you take the walls down, they will come in. Thank you. Have a good night, everybody. Who's sick.
Thank you. We're going to take our absolute last comment here. He's been raising his hand, but Nicole, can you just go to him? He's been raising his hand the whole time. I know, I just went to people who have not already spoken. The one, has he spoken? Not that good, the next guy next to him. Okay. If you both spoken, sorry. You can go to District 6. Give that information.
You have to hear this, please. I know I spoke already.
Yeah, 10.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angelica Khan. I'm a field representative in Mayor Keller's office. So to answer your question, yes, we are here. And I grew up in the Trumbull Village. My father supported my family as a state fair employee. Going back to what Mr. Donnelly said about the investments, there have been huge $1 million investments into the ID, and several problem hotels have been shut down. The city doesn't have a whole lot of say in this, but the community does. So thank you all for showing up here today. And the city would encourage the leadership here to continue to listen to the community and do right by this community. We want to foster and encourage collaboration and continue to help the unhoused folks in this area. And I don't believe that the rhetoric around, expelling them or any kind of unharmful solutions are not helpful in this conversation. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That's going to conclude our public comment for tonight. Nicole, can you remind folks the survey you have available?
Yes, please, if you just Google CABQ District 6, you'll see my webpage right at the top. It has the survey for our state fair. So you can put in, it's just a type in. There's not multiple choice because we want to hear from you.
Thank you all for coming out. Shows the importance of our community. Thank you very much.
And we someone gave a picture that took it down. Yeah, that's it.